In a town filled with tough, hard rock miners who were quick to use their fist, maybe the toughest man to ever pass through Cripple Creek was a Harvard graduate by the name of Spencer Penrose. Spencer Penrose, Speck to his friends, was the son of a prominent physician in Philadelphia and left a privileged life to make his fortune in the Wild West. Along the way, he set about proving to the world that his blue blood was as red as any man's. Not one to shy away from a fistfight, young Spencer Penrose was a dashing figure. Arriving in Colorado in his mid-20s, Spencer Penrose was the most eligible bachelor in Cripple Creek, and he happily lived up to his reputation as a ladies' man. A skilled horseman and a brilliant businessman, Spencer Penrose was a great man of vision, whose wealth continues to benefit the state of Colorado through the El Pomar Foundation. His boyhood friend, Charles Tutt, was a real estate man in Colorado Springs and was responsible for inviting Penrose to the Pikes Peak region. They became partners in several real estate ventures and had a joint interest in the COD mine at Cripple Creek. It was the start of a long professional and personal relationship between Spencer Penrose and the Tutt family that has lasted several generations. Although Speck had no children of his own, the Tutt family has continued his legacy through their involvement with the Broadmoor Hotel and the El Pomar Foundation. But it wasn't Cripple Creek gold that made the fortune of Spencer Penrose. It was his investment in Utah copper mines that made him a multimillionaire. With his mining wealth, he built the Broadmoor Hotel in 1919, and eventually, with his wife Julie Penrose, created the El Pomar Foundation. Each year, the El Pomar Foundation awards millions of dollars to deserving Colorado-based nonprofit organizations and is the single largest private foundation in Colorado.
Swift, powerful, Rio Grande's cracked scenic limited forces the rising sun to stand still as mile after mile of spectacular scenery unfolds in a panoramic prologue on our journey from Denver to Colorado Springs. Vacation paradise. Modern air-conditioned dining cars provide food thrills for appetites that are renewed and sharpened by fragrant pine-spiced breezes. Comfort is stressed, and the crystal-clear window panes become magic mirrors that reflect ever-changing vistas and recollections. Then suddenly we thrill to our first glimpse of majestic Pikes Peak, its dome-piercing heaven, and realize that we're nearing Colorado Springs, the first stop of a trip never to be forgotten. The train almost noiselessly comes to a smooth stop. Our destination is reached, and Colorado Springs becomes the gateway to magic beneath the clouds. First impression of this city is the invigorating atmosphere. Almost 6,000 feet of elevation stirs us into activity, and jaded interests are whipped into a desire to do something, to find the wonder spots that abound in the Pikes Peak region. In 1871, when Rio Grande rails first pointed toward the mountains, General William J. Palmer, empire builder, envisioning a model city, planned and founded Colorado Springs. 60-odd years have passed. Today, Colorado Springs is more than a pioneer's dream. It is a magnificent city, modern in every respect. Just a stone's throw from Colorado Springs is the beautiful Broadmoor section, the recreational center of America's scenic playground. Impressive and in a world all of its own, on Cheyenne Mountain looms the Shrine of the Sun. Built of enduring stone from the West he loved, this shrine is an everlasting memorial to Will Rogers. Appropriate indeed that it was created by his intimate friend Spencer Penrose, famous Coloradoan.
Will Rogers was humorous, philosopher, and friend to all mankind. He recognized the obligations of good citizenship and lived accordingly. I value his friendship and life and revere his memory. The Shrine of the Sun on Cheyenne Mountain is my tribute to Will Rogers, a memorial designed to keep alive forever the inspiration of a great American.
Crystal clear waters of Broadmoor Lake reflect the stately outline of this renowned hostelry, an entrancing picture broken only by aquatic activity.
Until 1949, life in Cripple Creek revolved around train service in and out of the district. In 1929, 18-year-old Colorado City resident Ira Current bought one of the first 16mm cameras. With his hand-crank silent camera, Ira Current decided to capture history. His film is now one of the most remarkable motion picture archives of the mining district. A lifetime photographer now in his 90s, Ira Current talked about his amazing day on the Midland.
Tell us about the day you went up to Cripple Creek. Why did you decide to do this film? And
Oh, I just figured it ought to be done. Be a nice trip, yeah. And I just wanted to make a picture of it. I shot another series, you've got that too, I guess, of the freight train going up U Pass.
what do you remember from that day? You had the tripod, the camera, and one
That's
thing
right.
that I've always was impressed by your films is your camera angles. You're always looking for something different, mounting at different locations.
Well,
and what do you remember from that day?
Well, first, with that camera, the finders are very nice to use. I mean, it had one on top and one in back, so you could actually see what you're doing very well. The trouble with maybe shooting out of the side of the train, going around curves, is getting the camera mounted on the tripod. And I had to lean the tripod over the edge of the observation car of the train, and then tilt the head and turn the camera sideways so that it would be square, and then do my cranking there without knocking it over or having it fall off or something like that.
And how much was it to take the Midland at that time to Cripple Creek? Do you
Well,
remember?
I think it was under $5. I believe it was maybe 2.5, but I may be wrong.
Was it still a pretty wild town, or was it?
It was sort of dying down after the gold sort of petered out. But there was, as you saw in that picture, an old prospector. I wanted to be set up earlier to get him walking towards the camera, but I only got him as he came around the corner and put his pickaxe down. I thought that was kind of nice.
In 1966, veteran television producer Bob Fitzmaurice took a primitive 16mm optical camera to Cripple Creek and interviewed some of the people who helped make the district famous. Cripple Creek's Mayor Bill Robinson, international journalist Lowell Thomas, historians Marshall Sprague, and Mabel Barbee Lee sat down at the Imperial Hotel to talk about their experiences and love for the mining district.
Representing the new life of Cripple Creek, Bill Robinson, who's not one of the old-timers here, although I think Bill knows probably just as much about the district as anybody who's lived here for a long time. Bill came here originally as publisher of the Cripple Creek Gold Rush, and Bill, I understand your son is now publisher of the paper.
That's right.
You've been here since, what was it, 1960?
1960, Mark.
What brought you out to Cripple Creek?
Oh, desire to live in an old-time mining camp, I guess.
And like so many people, you had relatives that lived here at Montage.
That's true, back in the 90s.
When your grandfather came here?
Yes, sir. My grandfather's in the livery business in Cripple Creek in the 90s.
So not everybody was in the mining business in this area. Bill, as I mentioned, you're kind of the new life of Cripple Creek. it's often thought of as a ghost town, an old mining town with nothing left. But there is a new life, as we mentioned, and this is tourism. What do you think of it?
I think right at the moment, as long as the government has their unrealistic approach to gold mining, that tourism is the only hopes for Cripple Creek. This is an old mining town, but as you mentioned, we have plenty of life. I think a person could spend his entire vacation in the Cripple Creek mining district and find plenty to do.
What I would consider one of the most entertaining and factual historical accounts of the Cripple Creek district, coming right from the time when they first ran cattle up in here right up to the present time. It's called Money Mountain, the author of which is Marshall Sprague. And Marshall, I unfortunately just finished the book. I say unfortunately because many other people have read it before I ever got to it, and it certainly is a very interesting book. How long does it take to research a book such as Money Mountain?
I think I took about 2 years on that job. It was the first book of this region that I'd written, and I was pretty much in the dark about how it should be planned and so on. And so I got up there in Colorado College Library and read the Gazette. It's practically a rewrite of the Gazette through the years that Cripple Creek was booming at its highest.
What prompted you to do a book on Cripple Creek in the district?
And it just seemed to me that people were so interested in this fantastic gold camp, which is quite almost in a class by itself in the history of world gold rushes, because it was so small and so much gold came out of such a small area.
This young lady is well known for a couple of reasons. She's one of the foremost authors concerning the Cripple Creek mining district, and she was also Lowell Thomas's school teacher way back when. Mabel Barbee Lee. And Mrs. Lee, what grades did you teach Lowell Thomas in?
I taught him, or tried to teach him, history and Spanish. He knew much more history than I did. And I was always very much afraid he was going to ask me a question I couldn't answer.
This would have been somewhat embarrassing.
But I knew more Spanish than he did. And even today I notice now that when he speaks of it, he says that he studied Spanish with me. He doesn't say he studied history with me, and there's a good reason why.
He's been studying history ever since,
yes.
hasn't he?
Well, his father was a very brilliant scholar, and I think Lowell studied with his father a great deal at home. And it put him ahead in school, you see, and handicapped poor little school teachers like me.
Probably one of the most well-known exponents of the Cripple Creek mining district, a man who grew up in the mining district and lived a good portion of his life over in Victor, and actually got a start in the journalism business in Victor. That's Mr. Lowell Thomas. And Lowell, you've always been one that's been quite a plugger of the Cripple Creek mining district, have you not?
Well, I'm an enthusiast for all mining camps, but of course particularly for my own hometown. Because when I was a boy, the Cripple Creek district was regarded as the greatest gold camp in the world. I imagine its only rival in those days was the great camp at Johannesburg on the Transvaal. But these mines here, they're all around us. We're sitting in the Imperial Hotel in Cripple Creek at the moment. And I come back to the Cripple Creek district, to Victor, and to its suburb, Cripple Creek, as often as I can, every 2 or 3 years. And this time, I'm here, sort of playing host to a group of people who've been getting together every summer for, 50 years or so. Because the people who worked in the mines here in the Cripple Creek district, they seem to almost belong to a club. And they enjoy coming back and trying to relive the old days. Alas, alas. So far, I've been up here for 2 hours this morning already, and so far, I haven't met a single one, Hard Rock, who goes back to the days when I was here. None of my vintage. So you see, I've become a patriarch. At any rate, it's great fun to come back and to come to the Imperial Hotel, the home of melodrama, where the first Western melodrama was put on, that is, in what we call modern times, this jet age. And so long until tomorrow.